Hi everybody, welcome to PrettyInPoupons. My name is Brittany and today we'll be doing something a little bit different. So a few months ago I was watching Lucy Worsley's 12 Tudor Days of Christmas, in which she explores what the 12 days of Christmas was like back in the reign of Henry VIII. And on day 12, Lucy came down dressed as Anne of Cleaves in the most stunning yellow gown I think I have ever seen. It was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at that deep, heavy mustard color, the square neckline with the beading, and those deep sleeves. It's perfection. I'm not gonna lie, I've been coveting that dress since November when I first watched that video. And I would love to have one of my own, and after months of watching historical sewers, I kind of got it in my head that maybe I could make it. And maybe I could, but there's a few problems. First of all, my sewing skills are just north of beginner, kind of hanging out between beginner and intermediate. It could be possible, but there'd be a lot of swearing at my sewing machine. 2, I live in a one-bedroom apartment. There is not a lot of space to sew and to store a full velour Tudor gown. And 3, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm not really going anywhere where I could wear them. And even if the world were completely open right now, that's not really something you wear to happy hour with friends. But it got me thinking, what if I adapted it? I'm not going to wear a heavy gown anywhere, anytime soon, if ever at all. But I wear sweaters a lot. So what if I took some of the basic design components of the dress and adapt it into a regular sweater that I could wear anytime I wanted? So that's what we're going to try to do today. I'm going to take something that is not crochet and try to make it into something that is crochet. It's going to be an adventure. I haven't done anything like this, and especially not with an audience. So we're going to give it a shot. So now for the design phase, and I want to apologize in advance because my skills lie in crochet and not in drawing. But we'll start with the neckline. The neckline was one of the first things that caught my eye when looking at this dress, and the shaping is really going to start at the yoke. From there I will do pretty narrow sleeves and go straight down. The dress itself has a very conical shape. This was likely achieved by the undergarments or shaping stays or bodies. I can't remember what they're called at this period in time, but since I won't be wearing them, it's less important that I know every historical detail. But I do want to keep an inspiration from that shape and in the boning lines. So I'm going to do back loop only rows, just to keep that kind of shape to it. From there, the sleeves. I'll start with traditional sleeves, doing regular shaping from the shoulder to the elbow, but then when I hit the elbow, I'm going to flare out and do bell sleeves. They're not exactly proportional in the drawing, but you get the picture. Now for the detailing. The key components here are the lace around the collar and the beading that goes around the yoke itself. I will do some crochet lace to go around the square of the yoke, and then do the beading. I originally debated whether or not I wanted to do faux beading with crochet baubles, but since it was the pearls itself that attracted me to this dress in the very first place, I'm going to sew the beads on top of the yoke. So a few months ago, when I was just originally considering this, I found this Bernat velvet in golden moss, and I think it's going to be perfect. Between the texture of the original dress, the color of the original dress, it's going to mimic it really well, while still being wearable on a day-to-day. My only concern is that I bought this a few months ago, and I haven't seen this particular color at my local Joann since, so we may be buying things online. It's gonna see how much and how quickly I go through all of this. So from here, I'm going to start by taking some measurements of myself to figure out what size I'll need and making the yoke. All right, so we've got the yoke done. One thing I noticed when I was trying to figure out the measurements, my proportions, is that the yoke actually goes right to the shoulder. There is no separate shoulder shaping, so I readjusted my design just a little bit. And now I'm going to start by making the front panel directly underneath. So I wanted to video crocheting, but it didn't work out that way. So I'll show you what I did. The front is long rows of double crochet, hooked back loop only. At the ends of the first half, I would add in a stitch, come back up, attach it to the yoke, and then back down. And on the other side of the point, I started decreasing just to get that front tapered look. On the back, I ended up doing rows of single crochet, and this was to add a little bit more structure and strength to the front's very weighty portion. On the side, I did short rows just to give a little more width for the sleeve. Okay, progress report time. It is coming along pretty well. Finished the body, started the sleeves, and then I ran out of yarn. I originally kind of saw that it was coming, and so I figured I would try to play yarn chicken and maybe get 2 half sleeves out of it. And you can tell though that this sleeve is longer than that one. And I just didn't want to leave it like that. So I need to go pick up more yarn later on today. I've gotten 2 skeins in this, which is actually really impressive to get a full large sweater out of only 2 skeins of yarn, which is really a lot to say about that Bernat velvet. Couple things I've noticed. I'm losing structure in the actual neckline, so I'm gonna have to reinforce that if I want to keep that. The weight of the sleeves and the body is pulling it down, so I don't want a cold shoulder like off the shoulder top. I want that Tudor square neckline, so I think I'm gonna have to reinforce it, hoping that once I add the lace trim to it, that'll help. I did spend yesterday crocheting 56 inches worth of lace to go around the neckline, so I'll add that on there. I'm also going to add some beading. I bought a bunch of beads to try to emulate that. I was originally thinking maybe I could do it out of bobble stitches, but one of the things that initially attracted me to the sweater was the beading, and especially that pearl. So I decided to go ahead and, completely out of my element and add beads into this too. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think this is going to end up being a sweater that I wear all the time, so a little bit of decorative fun, worth it. I have to pick up the yarn later today, but I might start adding the trim on first, just to kind of have something to do. Not that I don't have 6 different projects going on right now, but we'll see how it goes. I'm pretty sure I could smuggle a small child in here, or at least a pug, something. So yeah, notes, thoughts, patterns. I'm a lot happier than I thought I was going to be. There were a couple times while making this that I thought, oh God, I'm wasting hours and hours of my life on something that's ridiculous. And it is ridiculous, but it's also really fun. I was hoping for something that wouldn't be too costumey, and I don't think I hit that mark. This does feel like a casual costume party in a cold climate. It's very warm, but overall I'm actually really happy with it. There are some things that I would do if and when I make it again, because I would like to try this again and make it even more day-to-day wearable. As much as I love the texture of the Bernat velvet, it's luxe and it's squishy and very warm, it makes it a very heavy sweater. I used 3 skeins total of the Bernat velvet, and you can tell it's weighty and it's heavy and it's warm, but it doesn't make it something that I could wear throughout a whole day. So I'd probably scale it back down to maybe a wool or even a mohair, I think would be a good option. I'd also bring the yoke in. There are 2 big problems with the yoke. The first one is that I just made it too wide, and so it pulls by the weight of it. And also I would do in single crochet or tighter crochet. I suppose if I'm using a smaller yarn, then I could get away with doing maybe double crochet, but doing double crochet on the yoke means that a lot of these beads actually fall back and get lost. I would tone down the sleeves a bit. They are, ridiculous. No other way to say it. But they're really fun for this. I feel like I could do like an ABBA cover band in this. Not against it. But overall, it was an adventure. I think making it to my widest measurement made sense for the conical shape, but it also made me feel a little self-conscious at first. But I think it's really fun. I want to try this again with a more wearable yarn and tone it down so it is something I could wear day to day, but I think this is a nice intermediate step. Obviously, I am not posting a pattern for this because I don't remember half of what I did. I was making it up as I went along, and it took a bunch of modifications. I had to sew elastic around the neckline to keep it in shape, and even still, it is safety pinned to my bra. So before I were to ever post a pattern, if I ever do, there's a lot of modifications that I want to make so it could be day-to-day wearable. But I think this was a fun experiment. I'd love to try it again. I'd actually love to try it with some other historically inspired dresses, so that could be fun. Let me know if that's something that you guys want to see. Well, thank you for watching. I'll pin my Ravelry for my other patterns, as well as my Instagram. So thank you for watching. You guys have a great day. Bye.